Welcome to the Blockchain Ireland Summit 2025 on-site podcast brought to you by Provenance. My name is Sebastian Grube and I'm the co-chair of the Events and Communications Working Group at Blockchain Ireland. With me now is Alexandra Overgaag, who is the founder of Thrilled Labs. Thrilled is our networking partner for the summit in 2025. I'm really excited to have Alex here to speak to us.
Thank you so much, Sebastian, and everyone for welcoming me. It's a thrilling summit so far, and I'd love to chat with you. Thank you.
Amazing. So what brought you to Blockchain Ireland Summit 2025 and why now?
What hasn't? To be really honest with you, we do partner with a number of events across Europe, but I've been really impressed from the first moment that I heard about Blockchain Ireland a couple of years ago from Fiona. She is involved with yourselves since some time now. And she slowly introduced me to various working groups, as well as all the efforts that you're putting in terms of event management, community, events organization, community building that you're doing, the meetups. And me, myself, being based out of Italy, but being Dutch, I thought, oh my God, I would love to be involved. So just try to reach out and collaborate with you. And I can only say that you really breathed the spirit of collaboration of Web3. So happy to be here.
Amazing. Happy to hear that and pleasure to have you. What is a person or a topic from today, maybe multiple, because you've been here since the morning, that has inspired you or piqued your interest in the summit?
I would somewhat suppose that probably a lot of people have mentioned one of the first talks from earlier today about El Salvador. There was a gentleman over here from the Committee on Digital Assets. So it was a mouthful, basically. But anyway, he was raising the case of El Salvador, how they have adopted Bitcoin, right? What they've been doing for the assets over the last couple of years, how they've been interacting with it, as well as some systemic improvements or changes that have been occurring in El Salvador, a prior war-torn country, and now a lot safer, I've been told. So that was a very interesting topic for me as a lawyer and political scientist. Actually, I was educated like that, then joined, the Web3 scene a couple of years ago. So from, I would say, a legal and political perspective, seeing how technology and improvements or changes, so you will, in the government, how it can supposedly very much impact a society and the lives of many individuals, I found that very interesting. Of course, there's wonderful other founders, entrepreneurs here, but I would definitely, if I had to pick that one, I would pick that one. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, no, that's great to hear. And tell us a little bit about Thrilled Labs. It's been a wild kind of couple of years for events in Web3. So tell us about Thrilled Labs and what the vision is and the mission.
Thank you. I will try to keep this brief. You know, that's what happens when you talk about, founders and then their companies. They go on and on and on forever. So as I mentioned, I was kind of trained to join the legacy institutions, but I realized over time researching how technology interacts with, at least, once again, society, human rights, inequalities in our societies. That if we really want to make changes, we should do that from a technological level, and not just any technology, no, a general purpose technology that is by now Web3 and blockchain. So anyway, long story short, I wanted to work in this industry, so I did. But then working in this industry on the business side, I saw that there are, once again, access barriers. There is not a level playing field in terms of business. So in terms of how people are interacting with each other and they can have access to each other worldwide, or if it's looking for jobs or fundraising or collaborations, or just, finding someone for a cup of coffee in your city who is also interested in Web3. Anyway, I saw that was unequal. So I'm getting to the point here now. I thought, what if we can create a free and open access platform, an app to start with, to welcome anyone and everyone in the Web3 space who is professionally involved with Web3. So founders, developers, lawyers, professional investors, event organizers, communities. So that's kind of where the idea for Trill got born. And to really now get to the core of your question, events, I realized over time that a lot of people, of course, where it goes to finding each other, where it goes for networking, find each other at these types of industry events, wonderful, bigger or smaller. So I thought, if we also make our app applicable for these types of use cases, so you will, hopefully we can better onboard people and allow people through a systemic kind of solution to find each other worldwide, regardless of who you are, where you're based, or what you look like. So that's it. What I see is a lot of wonderful events, and definitely this one stands out for me.
Amazing. Well, we're happy to hear that. And you've been dashing around Europe mostly at this stage at different events for the beginning of the year. What's the focus for Thrilled Labs for the rest of 2025 and for you?
Yeah, once again, I will try to keep this short. Thank you for your question and interest. So our app itself, it's free and it's open access. And whilst we will try to monetize in a couple of ways, we will do it ethically and we will always keep the app open. I do want to highlight that just because not everyone across the world wants to pay for the app, but even if they want to, can. So this thing must always remain open. What we will try to slowly do now is try to onboard more paying events that actually use our solution. Because not all of our partners pay, which is perfectly fine. I don't mind. But most importantly, what we're currently building is a decentralized ticketing and event management application. So think basically Luma meets Eventbrite, and then better, and then in the Thrilled style. So this will be decentralized application working with NFTs and will allow event organizers from all across the world, hopefully, to do their ticketing and event management through this app that we're building, this app. So we're very busy with that as well. We will launch internally our own Thrill token for the networking app as well as for the decentralized application, hopefully rewarding people carefully, sustainably for their engagement and support, just because we have a wonderful community with partners and users, although that sounds very web too. So those are a couple of things that we're doing.
Amazing. Very exciting times ahead. Leads me very nicely to my next question, really. Where do you see the real world application of blockchain technology? And what do you think is still hype in the space?
Honestly, I think that apart from, let's say, things like the meme coin craze, some of the I would say that many of the applications actually have real world applicability, and that is not in the last place because literally people in today's world are working with this thing, right? Are interacting with blockchains. Maybe it doesn't always create value in the real world immediately visible, but I would actually, from a more philosophical perspective, argue that we already see real world applicability, and we see also a lot of real world losses and startups getting bankrupt and non-product market fit, but we never hear about that. But that has ripple effects as well across our society and across the blockchain ecosystem. Just because we usually see the winners out there, in my opinion, there is actually a lot of real world tangible value, even though it's not always visible. So that's what I would argue from a philosophical perspective. I personally am very interested in how blockchain intersects with things like, DeepIn, so the physical infrastructures, how we see, ticketing, of course, for a ticketing portal and whatnot. But generally, I'm very agnostic. What I'm mostly interested in is real impact in terms of value for societies and from a social perspective, like allowing people to onboard an ecosystem and have access to financial resources, maybe power grids becoming more decentralized and inclusive, the distribution maybe of income, rooting back profits from companies. Those are the things that I'm interested in. Usually we can do that through blockchain, not always, but I want to see applications and projects and startups having a real impact for people and being inclusive. But it can also, of course, go for bigger companies that are rerouting some of their profits back or don't actually. So that is what I think is interesting and of importance. But I'm very colored as a social scientist here.
Yeah, it's coming through, but I think that's a very important part of the conversation is the social impact and looking at that in terms of blockchain as well. To my last question, maybe then, if we're sitting here again next year, which hopefully you'll be here again in 2026, what do you hope has changed in the space?
Well, first of all, I would be honored to sit here once again. Ideally, we always interact longer term with our partners, so I would be thrilled to do that. I think that I would like to address one point, not necessarily because, I always want to stand on the, how do you say it, like the soapbox and preach about this. But I do think that there is one important thing with regards to female, not inclusion as users, but female builders. Like, I personally notice a lot of implicit bias, specifically from professional investors. People tend to think that just, I don't know, maybe of what I look like, or maybe my being as a female, that it cannot be me who is the founder of this company. When you speak with people for investments, quite often they speak about male investors, even on stages as well, not at this event, but at other events. I noticed that. So if you ask me what you would want to see changed, I would like to see the professional investors being more inclusive in terms of the companies that they're funding. Because if you look at female-run startups, or at least as well startups that are male and female, combined, they actually have a better profit ratio than all male startups. And we typically work our asses off, if I can say that. So I would love to see that changed. Yes, the females being empowered by the professional investors out there.
Yeah, thank you. And I think it's an important conversation to have. And there's still a lot of disparity in that space. I'll give a shout out to Association for Women in Crypto at this stage, which is a great resource, especially to uplift women who are working in this space, and bringing people together under that moniker, so to speak. But yeah, thank you so much for the conversation, Alex. It was a pleasure to have you, and thank you for sharing your insights and your energy and your excitement. It was great to have you here.
Thank you, Sebastian, and great job to everyone here for your work and inclusion and international focus. Even though it's the Blockchain Ireland Summit, massive, great being here.
Thank you.